What Radio, the music you want.
With your host, DINAN.
RadioWhat.com.
Yes!
What's up, party people? It's Keys Dan with RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com, coming to you live in a living color from the Radio What studios. And this is my podcast, What Makes You Famous. It's an extension of the RadioWhat.com internet radio station that I've been running for quite some time. And if you need DJ services, where do you go? DJLittleRock.com. Check availability, get a free price quote, and maybe you can have me at your next event. I would be honored to entertain you. Yes, I like to party with the people at the best times in their lives. It has been my honor for so many years. Today on the program, oh yeah, I got a 3-on-1. It's the band DINAN. That consists of Christopher DINAN, Ben Longwell, and Sammy Bashir. And you're going to get to hear a little bit more about them in your ears in the next few minutes. So stick around. This week's shows. Yes, this is the part of the program where I tell you about this week's shows. Due to the novel COVID-19 coronavirus, there are no public shows. There are no private shows. There are podcasts. Podcast after podcast after podcast. Yes, this is how I'm spending my time. Speaking to people, getting to know people, finding out what people know, and then having them expound on their knowledge. Yeah, they're passing that knowledge that they've gained onto you and me. That's right. Picking brains. It's what I do on the What Makes You Famous podcast. All right, let's pick some brains. We got the band DINAN. Let's call up Christopher, Ben, and Sammy. The band DINAN now.
Hello.
Mr. Chris DINAN. We got you on the phone. That's fantastic.
Yeah, long time no hear from.
Hey, it's been so long. All right, let's call Ben Longwell. Hopefully he answers the phone. Let's get a singer. You got a bass player. Let's get a singer. Yeah, let's do that on the What Makes You Famous podcast. Let's do this.
Hello.
We got a Ben. That's fantastic. This is the way to do it right here. And I'm merging the call. Perfect. We got you merged. You should have let's see. Let's try to get the drummer, Sammy. Oh, Sammy. Where be Sammy? Oh, Sammy.
Hello.
Yes, and I think we got you all on the line. I need a roll call. Let's see if I get Chris.
Right. Yeah, Chris is here.
Chris is here. Let's see if I got a Ben.
You do have a Ben.
Let's see if I got a Sammy.
Freezing.
Yes, we got the whole crew in here. All right, I got a little bit of your faces. That's nice. At least I get an idea of what you look like at this particular moment in time. For those that I'm going to go ahead and start the podcast here. For those that weren't privy and aren't privy, because I'm never going to post that part. We tried to do it on Skype, but unfortunately, Skyping three-way, and that's what she said. A Skyping three-way is not the way to go. Maybe we'll try Zoom a little bit later, but I know Zoom is limited on that. But I digress as we start the What Makes You Famous podcast with DINAN. Let's get the members of DINAN. Well, there we go. Let's start with, I guess you got a front man. We definitely have a front man. And he was very silent during the Skype call that you're never going to see. But I got Ben Longwell, and he is not silent anymore. Ben Longwell.
I am not.
Tell the people who you are.
My name's Ben Longwell. I live in New York City. I play guitar and sing.
I like that.
And
very concise, to the point. I like long stories. We got lots of time, and I want to hear. I want to hear a lot about you. We'll expound on that a little bit later. But I do have a drummer, Sammy Bashir. Is that the proper pronunciation on that?
Yes, sir. You got that right, actually.
All right. Tell the people who you are.
Yeah, my name is Sammy Bashir. I play drums for DINAN. It's actually my first serious project in 10 years of playing drums. So, and I'm actually really excited about doing this with these guys because these guys are, they're the real deal.
So previous to that, you were clowning, maybe, just doing jokes. It's not serious at all.
I just wasn't pursuing it. Yeah, really.
I got you. So you were a guy that just like to bang on some skins. All right, but not really play with anybody until now. Until now.
Until now.
All right. For those of you that haven't listened to the Imbolg podcast, and I encourage you to do that at some point in time. You're going to learn a little bit more about Christopher DINAN. But Christopher DINAN, for those of the people that haven't listened, and that's not many because I have loyal listeners. I know that they're listening to every single podcast. And if they haven't done so, they're going to feel so bad right now. They're going to go back and listen to all of them. Christopher DINAN, tell the people who you are.
I am the bass player. I live in Brooklyn, been here for about 9 years. A beautiful woman from Europe who's been here for 25 years brought me to Brooklyn. And I've been playing bass guitar for the better part of 10 years, 6 years seriously. And this is my third band that I've been in since I moved to Brooklyn, but the only one that I've really connected with the guys. Like the first band I got into that I really connected with everybody, and this is the furthest that we've been going. And I'm really excited about everything that we've done and everything that is in our future.
Well, Christopher DINAN, you have to be excited about a band that has your namesake on it. I mean, here you found this band just lying around, and hey, your name's the same as mine. That's great. I think I'll join you. I think I will play with you guys. No, seriously. I mean, and then you have this drummer hasn't been serious up till now. You straighten him up. That's great. And then you have this very beautiful man at the front, man. That's he's a front man. There you go.
Oh, sure.
But it's true. What's that?
How we started out actually was the previous band that I was in. We were auditioning a drummer, and one of the auditionees, he ultimately did not mesh well with that project, but him and I hit it off pretty well on a personal level. And several months later, he gave me a call saying that he's in this other project and they're looking for a bass player. And so I responded and I went to meet Ben. And Ben and I, we hit it off right away, personally, musically. And we were together for a couple months before that drummer had left the project, and then we found Sammy. And Sammy is just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Sammy got thrown into the fire because we had a show already lined up, and we kind of like, hey, you want to join the band? And he's like, yeah, we had another person who were going to audition the next day, and we had a show in 3 weeks. So we really hit it off in the right way. And I was like, yeah, you want to join the band? Okay, we got a show in 3 weeks.
Well, if Sammy's been playing for 10 years, my goodness, he could probably mix in pretty well with almost any band. Once you've committed that much time to one thing. Now, what kind of bands were you in? No, you haven't been in any bands previous to this, Sammy. What have you been doing with your drum kit? Annoying your parents to no end, or what?
Actually, I was in the Army from 2014 to 2018. I was based in Texas, and I was in a band down there. But before things got, serious, we recorded a couple of songs. People got out of the Army, people moved away, and life kind of happened. So.
Oh, all right. Well, prove that you're from Texas, or that you were in Texas. The stars at night are big and bright. And
the North Star, you can't see it.
Nope, he didn't spend enough time in Texas at all. Can anybody finish that?
Can't say that I can.
I've never been to Texas.
You're supposed to clap. Deep in the heart of Texas.
Oh, shit.
All right, I only know that because of Pee Wee Herman, okay? Because he had to go to the Alamo to find his bike. Did anybody see Pee Wee's Big Adventure?
Oh, absolutely.
Years ago, though.
All right, then. I encourage you, while we're having downtime right now, go watch Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Destroy some brain cells, and maybe you'll try to find your bike as well. But I digress. We're hanging out with DINAN, and we're going to go on a little journey with all of you. Find out what you're thinking about things, not just music, but I mean music primarily, because that's what we're here to talk about is your band. And this particular project and the new music video that you made. All right. Yes, there's something.
I got a really
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Before we moved on, I wanted to say I got a really funny story about before Chris met the band. I was having a lot of problems auditioning bass players, and I auditioned this one, and he wasn't up to snuff. I just had him come over to my house, and he was obviously wouldn't be a good fit. And then I was at the beach, and it had been like a couple of days, and he calls me up, and I'm at the beach with my girl, so I just rejected the call. I was like, I'll call him back later. He calls me again. I'm like, what the hell? And I reject the call again. And then he texts me. He's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, hey, man, do you mind if I call you a little bit later? I'm at the beach with my girlfriend. And he's like, send me a picture. I was like, what the? Can we swear on this?
I won't, but I mean, this is the Wild West here.
All right. But yeah, so I was like, you would be surprised how many crazy ass musicians there are out there. It's really hard to find good people to work with.
Well, I suspect, music can be very sensual. A lot of guys get into music to attract the opposite sex, to attract females. I mean, why do you play guitar? Why do you play drums? Why do you play bass? It's, to impress chicks. That's primary. So there will be a few horn dogs in the mix. And I'm guessing, send me a pic is probably the least offensive thing that he could have said. But that's great. No, all right. Yes. Like I said, we were trying to do this on Skype, and we were talking about your music video. And this is something that just came out. I saw that it's in a parking lot. I said it was a parking lot, but I think you explained that it was something else. Chris, tell us again tell the people for the first time where that music video was made. And then Sammy, you can give props on who made that video.
It was in Williamsburg in the industrial park. We were out.
It's in Greenpoint, actually.
Greenpoint. Okay. Yeah, my mistake. Well, it's like right near the Williamsburg area. So I live in South Brooklyn, so I get my neighborhoods in the north side of Brooklyn confused. We were out there. We went out there like 2 o'clock in the morning to scout locations, and we brought the drum sets out and everything. And we head out there and started filming right as the sun was coming up, and we were just moving around from area to area in the industrial park. And it took us about 4 hours to shoot it, and it was fun. And
now, once again, Sammy, who shot that thing?
Yeah, props to Eduardo Perez. He's my roommate.
And
shot it on an iPhone 11.
Yes, and you say that it was the first thing in the morning, and from what I understand with photographers is that the first thing in the morning and the dawn and dusk are the magic hours. That's when people want to take pictures. And I noticed the lighting in that music video. I mean, beyond the rocking, it'll rock your faces off. I encourage you, go find that music video. These people are having a great time just doing their thing. And I know you said it took 4 hours to make a 3-minute music video. I mean, what is the process on that? Do you have to keep doing it over and over and over, and then in post you kind of edit it? How'd that happen?
If you got to go in with a good idea of what you want to do, but also be willing to be flexible on the fly if anyone has any ideas with the environment that you're used to. And I had an idea. We all came up with the idea of a couple streets, and originally we weren't even going to bring instruments, but last minute I was like, let's bring instruments. We definitely want those. And it was real close to my house, so it wasn't that much of a pain. And there's actually a couple really good ideas that we had there we were going to use in future videos that didn't happen to make this cut. And like Sammy said, Eduardo was great. He had a really good ideas for angles, and he had some of his ideas of his own that we ended up by using, and it all came together pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it was a good call bringing your instruments with you, because I feel as musicians you're probably very comfortable holding your instruments. In all the pictures that you see of musicians, if they're holding their guitars or the drummer's holding his sticks, or any instruments.
Just as good as holding a woman.
Well, okay, that could be argued, I'm sure. And maybe your women would tend to differ on that, but you might have caused some stir on that. And if anybody's here is attached, you might have caused some problems with that statement. But I hope not. No, I'm actually watching the video right now, and I'm seeing you. You're walking through the streets. You're actually doing some acting. I mean, was it difficult to find that to act? I'm guessing that the music was playing somewhere, and you were kind of lip syncing while you were walking and talking. I mean, and it took 4 hours, man. That sounds like a lot of time. And somewhere in this statement, there will be a question, or if any of this hits you, expound on this. Expound.
Yeah, it was really cold too. By the way, it was what 6 a.m. I think we started filming.
Before that, but yeah, it was like 37 degrees.
Yeah,
really.
It was. I had my winter coat on for like some of it.
Yeah, you got your leather jackets on. I mean, but the yellows, the colors. I mean, and this is in Brooklyn. You expect these colors to be somewhere in the Southwest, like Mexico. But the photographer, your roommate Eduardo, he definitely had a good eye. Has he done this kind of thing before?
Yeah, he's shot I think 1 other or 2 other music videos. He's from Puerto Rico, and so he's shot some music videos down there with his friends. So he definitely has some experience, in the realm of filming music videos. Sure.
Fantastic. Props to him, because you did have some angles and putting it all together. Okay, after he shot that video, was he the one that edited as well?
No, that was me using my brother's fancy computer.
And what program?
Fancy Adobe program.
Okay, Adobe Premiere, using on that one.
Yeah, Adobe Premiere.
Man, I use Adobe Premiere to put together some of these podcast videos, but I didn't realize you can do so much with it, because you've got. I mean, you did a good job. You really did. And this is your first offering. Is this the first song that you put together as a band, DINAN?
We have an EP that I recorded some of it before we got together, and so we kind of went from that, and then we polished it up. And we're looking to get in the studio real soon. We were going to get in the studio in May to record a full length album, because we got a lot of material, but unfortunately, due to this whole pandemic nonsense,
due to the novel COVID-19 coronavirus, we're all locked in. And it hit, man, it hit New York hard. And I know you're not. Yeah. Well, I mean, is Brooklyn? I guess Brooklyn's one of the 5 boroughs. I'm not that familiar. I've never been up there, but Brooklyn, it is part of New York City. Then it's been hit hard. You guys are locked up like prisoners. Like, are you able to get out and move around the city at all?
Yeah, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. You got to be really careful, because you just got to make sure you wear a mask, you wear gloves, you wash your hands. I've been washing I got a bottle of bleach. Like, I'll spray down any packages I get, money I get out of the ATM. You got to just make sure you be careful, because it's a real thing here.
Yeah,
but it's not. They don't keep people locked in. You just got to be careful. That's all.
That's where I'm at, man. I'm like, I'm young enough, I'm healthy enough to where I have some sense of vigilance, but I'm not scared. I'm not scared, but I do see some people that are scared, and we've heard things about New York City. You guys are like packed up on top of each other, and it's hard not to see people. But you say it's not like that, really.
It depends on where you live. Like, we're all fortunate enough to live in a house, but there's people there in big buildings. If you get a 1 or 2 people in that giant building, they happen to catch it, and they use the elevator, and they use the doors, they do all that. Like, that's why it's spreading so bad here. Like, especially like in some of the high rises, some of the projects, some of the high capacity buildings are getting hit a lot harder than certain areas. So that's why there's so many people here that got hit hard.
All right, so I get an idea of who is that talking? Is that Ben?
That's me, yeah, Ben.
You're very well spoken, sir. You are the front man. All right, so where did you start singing? Let's go back into the band and how the way it started and the members, how they started doing what they do. Ben Longwell, tell the people how you started in music and and then in school, maybe what other extracurriculars you were into. Let's delve deeper into your deal.
Does smoking pot count as an extracurricular activity in school?
It does indeed. Continue.
No, when I was younger, I started playing when I was about 10, and I was originally a drummer, and by the time I was 14, I was actually playing in bands with 27 and a 31-year-old. I was going out and playing and doing like some very adult things, and playing around the Seattle area. But I've always played guitar, I've always written songs. And when I moved to New York in 2004, or actually no, I moved to New York in 2002, I switched to playing bass and singing. And then I fronted a couple bands, also played drums still sometimes. I played bass in a couple of bands and a lot of backup vocals. And the last like 4 or 5 years, I've been dominantly playing guitar and singing. And it's just been kind of a progression from moving from playing the drums, playing bass, playing guitar to being an actual frontman instead of just like kind of being a behind the scenes guy.
Well, Ben Longwell, what I took away from that story was when you were a teenager, you were doing adult things. So I'm going to hold up this doll and you tell me where you were touched.
in all the good places.
Okay, very good. Like I said, music is a very sensual thing. And, you know, we get into this for various reasons, but, you know, you had your reasons. But you say you started out as a drummer. Now, this is something, you know, I mean, I think it would be such a hoot, especially if band members have played various instruments, for them to switch completely in the middle of a song or in the middle of a gig to switch instruments. I mean, how many others of you do play multiple instruments?
I mean, I dabble in guitar, but nowhere near I don't feel comfortable switching instruments in the middle of a show.
Who was that one?
Sammy.
Sammy does play a little guitar. See, that would be a hoot, man, if you got up between songs and just played one. And just, you know, I mean, what a novelty in the act. But, I mean, just using all your talents. And then, okay, so Sammy plays a little guitar. But, Christopher, what else do you play?
I'm learning guitar and harmonica.
And skin flute.
And what?
And skin flute.
Now, all right. Once again, I'm holding up the doll. Where were you touched? No. Now, Chris, you play bass, and me as a layperson who has 3 guitars but does not know how to play them would imagine that if you're playing bass, to switch over to guitar and vice versa seems like an easy thing to do. Is that not the case?
It is easier to learn either bass or guitar if you've already been playing one of them, because it has pretty much like the same dynamic, and you have the same rhythm, the same feel, but they're 2 totally different instruments. So the bass focuses on one note at a time, and it's bigger frets, and the strings are further apart from each other. Guitar, you can play with chords and more strings and smaller strings. So it's a matter of they're very similar, but they're also very different. But I'm finding that as I'm learning the guitar, I'm picking up on it a lot quicker than when I was first learning the bass.
Okay, on the bass, is it a pluck or a strum?
It's either or. I use both my fingers and a pick depending on the song. A pick would give it more of like an aggressive, sharper attack sound, more of like, especially if there's a lot of loud guitar. I use a pick to cut through the guitar so you can actually hear it. But a lot of times, especially with this project, I use my fingers because it gives it more of like a warmer, deeper, more rounded sound and more of like a feel. The important thing with the bass is not so much being able to hear it, although depending on the song, that is very important. The bass is the heartbeat of the song. You have to be able to feel it. Right? And that's what first drew me to the bass guitar, was going to live shows and feeling that thump in your chest in the bass, and being able to feel that just go through your whole body and makes you all tingly and warm inside. I love it.
All right, I'm going to start some strife here. Christopher Dinan, what I took away from that was that bass is the heart of the band. All right, you only need the bass. Sammy, what do you think about that?
I would agree, partly.
Okay. All right. I mean, hey, I'm trying to stir the pot here, and it did not get stirred. You were in agreement. And how about you, Ben? What do you think of bass being the heart?
Nah, you don't need a bassist. Look at Jack White. Not kidding.
Yeah.
especially the way the way these particular songs are written, bass is very important for these, because I keep the guitar lines pretty simple. I like the guitar lines and the bass lines to kind of dance around each other. So for this particular project, it's very important.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
I had to be a little bit smart ass.
No, you know what's funny? You mentioned Jack White of the White Stripes, and yes, they're only a guitar and a drum, and they've made such incredibly interesting and articulate music with two instruments. But when I was in Coconut Grove at Tobacco Road, this is a small bar in the Miami area, and I remember there was an open mic night or a new band night, and there was a bassist and a guy playing a bucket, and they were just mesmerizing. They held my attention for a full 15 minutes just watching them, and him going up and down the frets on the bass, and then the other guy just providing the backbeat on a bucket. It was mesmerizing. I can't say it anymore, but it was fantastic. Yes, go ahead.
I believe it. I played when I was in high school. I was playing as a drummer with just a bass player who sang, and he played put a little distortion on there and played some chords on the bass. And we played shows like that a lot.
Amazing.
So I mean, it definitally works.
Okay, well, I mean, go ahead.
When you just have a guitar player, Jack White gets his sound because he uses like a lot of effects, like octave stuff. If you just have a guitar playing normal guitar, it definitely loses a lot of that, what you're talking about, that warmth and that feeling you get in your chest and all that, if you just have a guitar player. So,
yeah, you know what's funny is I have the electric guitars. I have two. I have an Ibanez and then a low end Fender. It's a Squire, and I like those. And then I have the Esteban, which is the acoustic. But whenever I do play with them, I like the electric, and I do like putting the effects through them. I have a Pandora's box that I play with, and it, without those effects, it's really boring. I'm very happy that the electric guitar has been built and the effects box has been built. But you're primarily in the heavy metal genre. Do you feel like there has to be a lot of effects, or are there any songs that are clean with no effect, little to no effect?
There's definitely songs that are clean. I wouldn't call us heavy metal. I mean, we do have some stuff that are kind of like that. But
I painted you in a box. I'm sorry.
I was really heavy influenced by the whole grunge scene, and I think that's kind of the more the direction we are going. But we also like all kinds of different music between the three of us, pretty of an eclectic sound. But what we're trying to do is strip it down to bare bones. So I only use a distortion pedal. I'd like to start experimenting with some more effects, but there's a lot of music out there right now that uses a lot of auto-tune, uses a lot of so much samples, so much keyboard, so much all that stuff that I want to try to do the opposite. I want to try to bring it back to the basics, the bare bones, real freaking rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Well, Ben Longwell, since you talked about that, let's go into your influences. Who were the people that were playing music for you, and what music was being played?
Well, when I was a kid, right before I started playing, when I was about 10, 11, to date myself, Nevermind hit. And that's when I had oh my God, I want to do this. Like, the music bug was implanted. Before that, I was raised on like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Creedence from my dad. And then my mom would play like the Carpenters and the Beatles and stuff like that. And then when I started getting into my own, I actually did go through quite of a heavy metal phase, like some death metal, obviously like Metallica, Megadeth, and those guys. But I literally like stuff that's off the wall too, like Butthole Surfers and Primus and stuff like that. I was really into when I was a kid. And one of my main influence now, out of the guys that are still out there doing it, I'd say Queens of the Stone Age and Nine Inch Nails by far are like two of my favorites. They're still out there going strong.
If you're going to emulate some bands, you might as well emulate them. And there ain't nothing wrong with a little Pepper, Butthole Surfers. And was it Devil Went Down to Georgia? That was a good version by Primus. That was fantastic. I play that video whenever I get a chance when I do music videos. I DJ on the weekends. I'll put that out there. So I'm the guy playing your music. And I'll put your music on radiowhat.com as soon as I get it. But
thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Awesome.
And okay, Sam, let's go with that same question. I'm trying not to make this an interview. I like having conversations with people, but since I got three of you, it's 3-on-1, man. It's 3-on-1. No fair. Okay. Sam, what was what was being played for you as a young lad, Sammy Brashear?
Yeah, so I guess I'll show my age too with this. When I was around like 8 or 9, it was what, like around 2001, 2002. Blink-182 came out with what, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. So like pop punk is like a pretty big influence on me. Like Modest Mouse. I kind of like the alternative rock scene. And then some experimental stuff like and just like some indie stuff like Death Cab for Cutie, Animal Collective, Bon Iver. So I guess a lot more of the softer stuff in this band when it comes to music taste.
All right, Sammy Bashir. So far, you're the baby of the band. I haven't gotten the age on Chris yet. I'm 51, so I think I'm older than all of y'all. but I can see that there's
a number.
No, I can see that there's taste from Ben. You're primarily from the 90s and the early 2000s, and then I got Sammy a little bit later, maybe like the late 90s to the later 2000s is where your musical influences come. And then Christopher DINAN, what's the influence on you?
First and foremost, Geezer Butler of Black Sabbath. He's the reason I play the bass. Black Sabbath, Typo Negative, Rammstein, Marilyn Manson. I don't really have any musical influence from Marilyn Manson. I'm just a fan of his. But Korn, took influence from Korn. Took influence from Nirvana, from Alice in Chains. Led Zeppelin. It's kind of like a mixture between the classic rock, heavy metal of the 70s, some of the 80s, and the 90s.
Fantastic, man. Now, hey, all right, I'm going to tell this story. I'm from South Florida, in the Florida Keys, but I went to Western High School in Fort Lauderdale. That's where I graduated in 1986. But from what I'm told, in 9th and 10th grade, a Mr. Brian Warner was in our class. He's the same age as I am. And Brian Warner would be known by another name as
Marilyn Manson.
You got that right.
Oh, wow.
Now, I've never seen him at a reunion. I think he left in 10th grade and went over to another school in the Fort Lauderdale area and graduated from there. But that's what I've been told. And I never knew him. He was probably that guy in the stairwell eating by himself or whatever. But I never knew Brian Warner in school. But I got a hold of, somebody showed me their yearbook and there he was. His picture's just down the way from my picture. How about that? But yeah, I understand. Cool. I like the theatrics that he has, man. And I know that you have theatrics. Just that video alone, you were dressed up. Yes, maybe out of necessity it was cold, but you did take the effort to put some nice clothes on and your glasses and you looked the part, man, of rock stars. And I know you've been doing it for a while. So you've had time to fine tune your look and your sound. So, but I mean, you say that you don't want to be painted in a heavy metal box, but I mean, you rock. You definitely rock. But there is a lot of heavy metal influence. Although Blink-182, man, their video for was it the one that they dressed up like a boy band? What was that one?
Oh, right. Yeah, all the small things. Yeah.
All the small things. What a great video. Oh, I suspect that you'll pay homage to them sometime in the near future.
So.
Yes.
Their drummer is fantastic.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, and I think I keep mispronouncing the name of the band. You can pronounce it one more time.
DINAN?
You better believe it, because I think I've said DINAN about 12 times so far. All right, going back through. I mean, you have a few songs out there, and I've seen that you've gone. When did you actually come together? Was it 6 months ago?
About that, yeah.
And that was when
Sam and I got together around July, and then Sammy joined us in September.
Okay, all right. So Sammy wasn't with you when you were doing that live in Ardmore in Pennsylvania, I guess.
No, that was
that was Sammy's first show.
That was my first show.
Okay, so that was what's that?
That was in October.
October.
But he'd only been with us for 3 weeks.
That's the one you threw him into the fire.
Yeah.
I mean,
that was a fun show.
Yeah.
Before that, we only did a couple open mics. Me and Chris went out there and just played around because we had a drummer that was he kept saying, "Oh, let's play shows." And we got a set together. He's like, "Oh, now we need a lead guitar player." And I'm like, "Okay, I don't think we need one, but I'll get you one." So actually, I pulled in Chris's brother, who's a pretty good guitar player, and I have some lead lines written behind some of the stuff. So we started working on that, and then he was like, well, I don't know. Da, da, da. It's like, come on, dude, you want to do this or not? Like, and finally he just up and he didn't even really give us a explanation. He's like, I can't do this. And I'm like, all right. But it's honestly turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to us, because Sammy, especially as a former drummer myself, I can be pretty hard on drummers, and Sammy has very much impressed me. I think he's a freaking awesome drummer. And this band also depends. These songs depend heavily on a rhythm section. They're very rhythm based, so it's very important.
Well, that's a high praise right there, Sammy. It sounds like it all worked out for the best. And I see that you're gelling. I mean, just judging by the videos, you guys playing live and that, man. I mean, I gotta know where does the income come in all this, and I guess maybe we'll figure out what your parents think of you becoming rock stars individually. But I mean, how are you guys? How does a rock star or how does a musician, a working musician, make money these days? You don't have a lot of record sales. Is it all individual songs, or how is it all playing live? Tell me more.
It's right now, especially since we're just starting out, it's pretty much a shoestring budget. We're putting in money. We're not seeing much come out of it. We've had some money come out of live shows, but I have faith in the future that we'll get to the level we'll be able to make a little bit more money off of live shows. If we were in it for the money, though, we would hang up our guitars and sell our shit right now, because it's rough for a musician these days. Yeah. If you're not in it for the love, especially in rock, it enough, right? Especially in rock. If you don't love it, and you're waiting around for money, it could never really manifest. I'm not scared to make money off of it, like the old adage of being a sellout. I mean, to some extent, it does exist, but for the most part, it doesn't exist the way it used to. New York is also a very tough crowd. There's so many more activities to do here, and rock is not as popular here as it is in other regions of the U.S. So, but I'm hoping to maybe bring something back, because it seems like there's a little bit more interest in it. I've also watched them tear down a lot of rock clubs in New York that I used to love to play at, and that's a little disheartening, but there's also some new ones that pop up. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think a wise man once said, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I mean, New York is tough.
And if you can't, join the club.
No, and it's tough to get people to get their butts up out of their chairs, go spend some money and go look at something, and you're trying to draw that crowd. And I'm guessing that live, seeing somebody live and playing live is where the money is made. And there is no such thing as a sellout for me. No, you're playing something that people like. You're playing to the people. As a DJ, I do that. Okay. Maybe I feel like playing the blues today, but if somebody says, hey, could you go 80s? Could you do some heavy metal for me? No problem. You got to play for the people. It's not like that. It's not selling out. It's playing for the people, giving the people what they want. I think a wise man said that as well. So, I mean, but you say you put a set together. What does a set entail for DINAN?
At the moment, we usually do like a 9 to 10 song set, because that's been the time we have allotted. But we have, at this point, we know enough songs to do. Well, actually, by the time we get back and running, we're on the verge of having 2 separate sets. And I'd like to learn a third set of some quieter tunes that we can play in different venues, or even acoustic things. Because I have some material like that too, and we've touched on a lot of it. But we were just getting some really good momentum when all this pandemic hit, which is very unfortunate. But
I think
we're trying to keep that momentum.
Yeah,
we're trying to keep that momentum, and the video definitely helps with that. And I think we're going to start getting together over at my place and just doing some light jams to get ready for when we can hit the ground running again.
Man, that is very important to have a good practice zone. And I think a lot of musicians, a lot of entertainers for that matter, have been saying, man, my life is on hold right now. I mean, do all of you at least have a day job to keep you going? I hope.
Yeah, not anymore.
What? No, you're not necessary. Yeah. Nobody's necessary. Essential.
Yeah, non-essential human beings.
Oh, no. Are you driving are you driving your spouse's crazy?
Yeah, I'm driving her a little bit crazy. Definitely.
Which one is that one?
That's Ben. I'm driving my fiance Victoria nuts.
Okay, well done, well done.
And I got my wife and a house full of kids, and that's a handful. That's a full-time job in and of itself.
And that one's Sammy.
Yeah, that's Chris.
Oh, Chris. Oh, wait. Okay. As I'm looking on your Facebook, it says you're engaged. You need to switch up that status, man.
Well, we're not legally married. We call each other husband and wife. We've been together for about 9 years.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. It's good to have some.
We're going to legalize it. Maybe next year or the year after. I haven't come up with a date yet.
Hey, no rush, man.
Legalize it, yeah.
Uh-oh, I'm getting chills up my spine.
Advertise it.
What? Okay, so when you're out there playing, do you is it all originals or is it some covers or is it, what's the percentage on that? 50-50?
We know it's predominantly originals. We had a show that got canceled on April 10th, and we started learning "In Bloom" by Nirvana. And I'd like to mix in a couple more covers, but we want to try to just do mostly originals. I think we have a strong enough. We're strong enough as a band, and the material's good, that I think we can carry this on very minimal covers.
See, that says a lot about you, man. That you feel that the merit of your own songs can make it, because you can make a decent living as a party band if you learn covers. But you don't want that, man. You want to be DINAN. You want to be all you. And I know that even bigger bands or bands that have already made it will play a few covers just to have fun with it. Oh, I've always wanted to play this song. Bam. Let me throw that out for you. Let me put In Bloom out there for you. And that's something fun for the live audience. But to make records, man. Now, how many songs do you have? You say you have about 8 or 9 songs in your pocket right now produced?
Oh, no. We got 4 songs recorded and produced and ready to put out there. As a band, we know I'd say about 15.
Yeah.
15 right now. And we got a lot more to learn. We have about 70 songs in our catalog.
Yeah. I mean, 15.
Probably about 50 that we'll actually learn. 20 of those will never see the light of day.
Dude, 50. That's like a 4-hour show. That's excellent. you give people what to, oh, for sure. I mean, just down the street, Bruce Springsteen, my favorite concert I saw all time back in 1984 when he was doing the Born in the USA tour. He came down to the Orange Bowl in Miami, and I scored some tickets to that. That man went 3 hours, 45 minutes, collapsed.
Wow.
Clarence Clemens, picked him up, took him off stage for a little bit. The band kept playing a little bit. He came back and did another 45 minutes. The man's hard work.
Oh, yeah. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That's very awesome.
I mean, dude, you collapsed. Go home. You're done. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason that he's the boss, not just because his name is Bruce O. Springsteen. Did you know that's why they call him the boss?
I didn't.
His middle name starts with an O. I was very sad when I learned that. I'm hoping that I made some sad people out there. Oh, I thought he was called the boss because he was cool. Yeah, he is cool, but that's not the why. All right. I mean, well, okay. I'm having fun with you, DINAN, and the band. And all right. So we've learned a little bit about you, about where you came from, somewhat, what your music taught you. I mean, any other extracurricular activities that you enjoyed as you were growing up? And we'll go with Sammy on this one first. Sammy Bashir.
Yeah, extracurriculars. I still play a lot of sports, soccer, basketball. But yeah, mainly growing up, I'd love to put on some Blink and just drum along with it. So
not a bad band to emulate. I mean, and were you okay? I'm thinking as a drummer, are you driving the parents crazy on this?
When I was younger and my drum set was in their place. Actually, I bugged the neighbors more than my parents because they actually knocked at the door and they were like, "Please stop what you're doing."
So, what family member, what distant relative that hated your parents bought you the drum kit?
It was actually me. I was walking my neighbor's dog and saved enough money to get my own $200 drum set, which is actually in the music video. Actually, it's a 10-year-old drum set.
A very enterprising young man. That's fantastic. All right. Well, Mr. Ben Longwell, what else were you into?
What else? I was really hell bent on playing music. I was, like I said, I was in bands with adults when I was a teenager.
We already talked about the doll.
I guess I used to. Is drinking considered a extra? I don't know. Partying my ass off.
All right, you were living the life of a rock star. You're already a front man at a young age, man. I'm seeing the likes of Jim Morrison coming through here. Yeah, a lot of partying.
Not so much anymore. Not so much anymore, but
I
still know how to have a good time.
Well, that's what a good woman will do for you, is settle you down and keep you grounded. You know, as much of a rock star I think I am, whenever I come home from a gig, hey, well, that was the best gig ever. They love me. Yeah, take out the garbage.
You don't know exactly how it is. Yeah, you don't know how close to home that is.
Oh, I'm sure I hit you right in the heart. Right. But all right, man, like I said, I'm having fun with you. 6 months ago, you started playing together. You got on stage. I know Sammy got thrown to the wolves. And I'll talk to Christopher Dinan. What other extracurricular activities were you into? I'm sorry, I have rented lips. I just got these today. What extracurriculars were you into?
Bicycling, camping out with my dad, going fishing. Like a bunch of nature stuff.
In New York? In New York City?
No, this was when I was younger. I lived in Pennsylvania and I lived in Florida. It was just north of Tampa. We would go kayaking a lot. And I had been going to a lot of concerts. Music has always been in my life. I've actually, Jimmy Walker's Girls Just Want to Have Fun. My great uncle wrote that song.
Come on.
His band, Robert Hazard.
It's in the blood.
Yeah. So music's always been in my blood. And I'd play a lot of video games growing up too. But nowadays, between the family, because the kids, they keep me quite busy. I'm always playing my guitar, still doing a lot of bike riding. I do a lot of reading too, and I watch a lot of horror movies. You know,
when Sammy mentioned that he was playing sports, I was going to say video games don't count.
Although I did do that too. A lot of that.
Hey, we all did.
I love video games.
Oh my goodness, the Atari 2600. Yes, I'm old. I mean, I played that thing. I wasted so many Saturdays with that thing, man. Shoot. All right. You spent some time in Florida. That's cool. I mean, I'm a Florida boy. I get it. All right. I'm starting to lose it here. I think I'm starting to lose it. No, any cool stories? I mean, shoot. All right. We're all stuck indoors. I think I'm starting to get cabin fever myself, but, once we break out of this thing, what's on the horizon for Dinan?
We got another video scheduled for another song we have that's already recorded called "When All Is Said and Done," and we want to start scheduling shows, but we need to figure out when it's going to reopen first. And also, priority one after the next video is hopping in the studio and doing a full length. The gentleman who recorded the 4 songs, his name is Jeremy Page, and I would never want to record with anybody else. He's freaking amazing.
That's
He's a great producer,
praise.
has good ideas. The studio's not that big, but he's very easy to work with. Like, we can bang it out real quick. Especially, I like to do a lot of pre-production before we actually get in the studio. Like, figure out the beats per minute, get the songs nice and tight, like do all that stuff so we know those songs inside and out. You know, when they hear about bands take like a year and a half to come out with new material, or 2 years or whatever it is, it's not because they're having problems recording it, it's because they don't have any material. That's the real issue. They don't have the material. So they're writing the material in the studio. We have the material. We just need to get it down in a format, and we're good to go.
No, that sounds like the mark of a great artist. If I liken it to movie production, the pre-production is so important. This way, when you get to the show, when you get on set, and for you, when you get in the studio, it's time to get to work. There's no wasting time, because if an actor is not off book, they're just going to be wasting film. I know it's not film anymore. They're just be wasting time doing take after take after take after take. And it's the same in that studio. And I'm glad that you have a good producer, because I'm sure the way that you talked about him, and that's high praise, the way that you talked about him, once you get in there and you give him an idea, he'll put whatever little finishing touches he needs. I mean, do you come to him with ideas and then he mixes it up a little bit? And you say, hey, what if we did it this way? Does he do some input, or is it pretty much whatever you like?
What happened is I walked in there and I said, I want the production to sound like Nevermind. I love that. The production on that album sounds great. And basically the ideas I had pretty much, we all had the ideas already set, but he came up with ideas like layering this. Hey, I know you don't have a lead written for this part, but why don't you just play a lead and we'll see what happens, do it over that part. Or here, try this octave guitar, play it over this. Like he came up with ideas like that. And he also did some stuff in the post, like he cut out, like there's this one break actually in 4-Leaf Clover. It's actually pretty hard to reproduce live. There's a little break right before it, when it comes back from where where everything drops out and it's just the bass and the drums. When it comes back after the break, there's this little dropout. Everything drops out, and that's actually from him. He actually just muted everything for that one beat, and it sounds great. We're still trying to recreate that in real life. But that's the thing about him. And we just speak the same language, and he's also the first person that got what we wanted out of our heads onto I want to call it a record too. So, but he got it out. What we had in our heads, he got it out there. It sounds just like we wanted it to. Absolutely, man. It sounds like you have a good team that's forming here between the audio and the visual. And I know ever since MTV came out in 81 or 82, you have to the visual is definitely a part of it. Putting out a music video, so you got that taken care of, man. I see you coming together as a band. We're here on the ground floor of DINAN as you're coming together, and I know we're all on hold right now. What are you doing music wise? Are you able to play with yourselves? Did I say that right? Put that thing away. You'll go blind, sirs. I've been writing like crazy. I learned a couple of covers. I learned a Beatles cover. I've perfected the In Bloom cover, and I've written 6 or 7 songs recently, something like that. And Chris has also been writing a bunch of stuff. We got to get together. It's really hard to write lyrics for something over like a recording. It's better to do it in person, so it gives me more of an idea to how to structure and everything. So that's something. And what I almost did it today. I chickened out of it, but I'm going to do it soon. I'm going to take Sammy's drums a couple blocks away in an industrial area and set it up and just play outside for like an hour. So that's what I've been doing. Well, it sounds like we got Ben and Chris writing music. What's Sammy doing?
Honestly, I don't have it set on me, so just rudiments. Actually, if I can plug in this really good instructor, Tommy Igo. He has this thing called the lifetime warm-up routine that I've been practicing on. So
that's cool, man. Well, but you feel like with 10 years experience, and I'm guessing all three of you sound like you have at least 10 years experience in your own respective instruments. But do you feel like, oh, I got this now, I don't have to practice anymore? Or is it always
never? Not. Never.
Yeah, never.
You'll never do it once you reach a certain level of skill, or say, okay, I finally mastered this. You move on to, okay, what else can I do?
Exactly.
Always up the ante. You never. There's no such thing as a master of your instrument. You're always learning. You play for 50 years. There's always still something to learn and grow with.
I like
Music's
that.
like a plant. If you don't water it, that's why sometimes you gotta even go back to the basics. You don't water the plant, it'll die. So you can't. It's not just something you can say, okay, I got that. I never have to play that again. And also, you can learn something from the greatest musician that's way beyond your level, and you can also learn something from someone who's just starting out, because they might see things from a different point of view than you.
Well, let's talk about that. The learning how to play. Sammy Bashir, how did you learn how to drum? Did somebody teach you how to drum, or were you one of the kids like me banging on your school desk with a pencil?
Yeah, I was self-taught for the most part. I got Tommy Igo. He's kind of like pretty much my virtual drum teacher. Getting started on the drums DVD, and he taught me the basic drum beat. 1 and 4, and then 2 and 3 on the snare. And then I just kind of got started from that. And then I, plugged in my headphones and listened to Blink and just kind of played away.
You kids these days with your DVDs. No, and I feel like that's, people don't need to go off to school for the most part. You can teach yourself. Everything's out there on the internet for the taking.
So much information.
It's so nice that these people have taken their time to record themselves. I mean, yes, it builds up their following, but in turn, it teaches others. That's what you should be doing. Once you get a skill, you start teaching somebody else. And Chris, how did you get into your bass? What was it? Lessons, or is this all tabs? Or I don't even know how you would learn a bass.
Well, I started off with tabs. It took me a long time to be able to learn by ear. I still struggle with it sometimes. But mostly, I bought when I was first starting. I had a few books that had the tablatures, like Black Sabbath. I said earlier, Black Sabbath is my biggest influence of playing. So I learned about an hour's worth of material there, and I just kept going and going until I was able to get like War Pigs and the bass solo intro for NIB, get that down. And my brother, he plays guitar, so he was able to show me a few things on the bass. And I pretty much just self-taught, and I still watch YouTube videos and stuff. So I try to pick up some techniques and stuff on what I can find on YouTube. And the best way to learn is once you learn a type of technique or whatever, you just play along with other people. Playing along with other people is the biggest teacher, because it kind of like pushes you and molds you, because you get to develop how to work in other people's styles and dance around with what they're doing. And experience is the best teacher.
So does anybody have the ability in this band to read music? Ben Longwell? Does anybody know how to read a note?
I know the concept.
Okay. All right. I get it. So I'm guessing Ben Longwell, it was tabs, and did you have a formal teacher at all?
No, I got one book that taught me some chords and tabs, but then I just realized it was easier just to learn by ear. I could just listen to it over and over again and pick it up. I also learned some of the songs, if you put it in mono, you can just hear just the guitar line, and then you can also use that in reverse for some of the songs too. Once you learn the song, you can do the opposite and just play along to the bass and the drum part. So I did a lot of that. I messed around with my stereo and made the guitar louder so I could just hear it. And like before, I was a drummer, but I actually started playing guitar first. But drums just kind of came more naturally than guitar. Guitar, I had to work at that one. But yeah, that's what I used to do. Is I would turn down one speaker and pick up the guitar line. And if that wasn't possible, I just have to listen to it over and over and over again. Now there's YouTube, so I still try to learn the song by ear first, but I find myself cheating more and more.
Now, Ben, you say you were playing the music backwards. Did you hear a little backmasking? Jimmy is a devil. Jimmy's the devil.
No, not backwards. In mono.
Yeah, but you said something about you can learn it backwards as well.
I don't think I did.
Maybe you didn't.
Double corrupting my body.
I'm sorry, my hearing is not so good looking anymore.
What? I couldn't hear you.
Ah, yes. I see what you did there. All right. Now I'm having fun. I mean, you got a little idea of who DINAN is, and we're on the ground floor, man. They're just starting. They got 70 songs in their pocket, but they're throwing 20 of those out. I expect to hear 50 of them recorded in the near future. You say you have 4 that are ready to be put out there. Where are you going to put them out there?
We have 4 out actually for free. We have a EP, a 4-song EP that's out there for free right now.
Where?
There's links. I can email you them, but we also have links on where's the link, guys?
Reverb Nation, yeah.
Yeah, I want to put the links on the show notes so people know how to get a hold of this DINAN music and be jamming. And it's good music to rock your baby to sleep. Let's do. I mean, it has to be up to 11. You have to turn it up to 11.
At this point, we'd rather just give the EP away, and then when the album comes out, earn people's trust that they know we're going to put out some good music, and then they can pick up the actual full album. And we also go ahead.
No, that's what any good dealer does. They give them a little taste, and then they got to pay for the rest. Yeah, first it's free. No, continue what you were saying.
And also, we would also like to, if anybody's interested in a physical copy signed by the band, we're actually we're in the we're talking about how to sell those. If anyone would be interested in one, we do sell them at shows. Signed. So, because if it is the ground floor, and I do see this band, I don't know how far we'll go, but we're going to go further than we're at right now.
No, and I got to tell the listeners that is a way to support the band, is to go visit them after the show at the merch table. Maybe not shake a hand, and maybe a fist bump. I guess finger guns are probably gonna come back real soon. Maybe jazz hands. How's everybody doing? Jazz hands. But I've been fist bumping for years, man. I meet too many people. I don't know where my hands have been. So, but
I do, and that's scary.
No, but meet up with the. In all seriousness, whatever band you go see, the way to support them is not only to buy their music or listen to them on Spotify, but even more so, go visit with them at the merch table and tell them what you thought. Give them some good criticism. If you like the band, you tell them you liked them. Oh yeah, and constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
Healthy.
Yeah, I'll take constructive criticism all day, man. You can tell me I stink. I'm no good on the mic. I mumble too much. I stutter. When I'm trying to come up with a thought, I might start saying the same thing over and over again. I might say it over and over again. I possibly could say it over and over again.
We're also looking into making shirts. I was supposed to do that before this. I'm way behind, like a couple months behind, and the guys are probably like, "What the hell?" But yeah. So we will have shirts.
Yeah, Ben. What the hell?
Well, you know how to get shirts is you tell your respective girls to that you need shirts, and either they'll push you to get those shirts, or they'll do them themselves. Because it's nice to have good support. I'm glad that you all have love in your lives, man. That's an important thing, that you have family backing you up. That'll keep you sane.
Absolutely.
All right, my man.
This is what makes the world go round. You
better believe it. Pursuit of happiness, all that stuff. It's in the constitutional. Yeah, I said that wrong. I said it. No, but as we're winding down, you can you could brag on the family or the kids or whatever you want, or this is free time for you.
I'd like to say, just like with Jeremy Page and how I'd rather not record with anybody else. I would also like to keep the same system of shooting videos with Eduardo. He was amazing, and Sammy might not have practiced during this lockdown, but he spent the whole first month editing that video. He did a damn good job. Oh. So I mean, that's way more than I could do, and I was planning on being there for that. But I feel like if I'm there, I might just throw a monkey wrench in the works, and it wouldn't come out as good.
That's just it. It's too many cooks. Yeah, you got a good idea. Let him come up with something, and then if there's little tweaks, hey, you can tweak it. But all right, Sammy, brag on some people. Any shout outs you want to give?
I guess I'll give it again to Eduardo, because he's the man. He really is. And it's weird how crazy good the iPhone 11 camera is.
You know that I didn't a whole feature film get shot on a 3G, an iPhone 3?
Really?
Yeah, there's I've heard something about that. This whole film was shot on an iPhone. It's amazing. You have a whole recording studio in your pocket. Back in my day, no, I just got older. All right, Christopher DINAN, the namesake of the band. I'm so happy that you found this band that had your name on it. You said, "Hey, let me join this thing." And so, brag on some stuff. Brag on some people, the family or any coworkers.
Well, definitely Eduardo for his awesome work on shooting the video. My brothers, Sammy and Ben, and I do consider them brothers. I've only known them for no more than 6 months, but we hit it off and we just clicked so well. We don't look at each other really as a band. We're a brotherhood who happens to make music together, and that's something that I will forever cherish. My wife or fiance, for her ultimate support. She's done nothing but help me and push me along. She's totally understanding. She's even gone to great lengths to support what I'm doing. Even when I was playing like out of state shows, she took off of work so that she could stay home with the kids. My father for being very supportive and pushing me when I was younger to not be a mess up in life. So if I'm forgetting anybody else,
and Keys Dan,
you're wrong.
Keys Dan.
He's giving the acceptance speech already for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I'm waiting for the music to start playing.
I was gonna start playing music.
There it is.
No, okay. Let's round this off, man. Usually I finish these things off with last words for the people, and since I got 3 of you, it's going to be 3 last words for the people. And it's like something that words to live by, or just whatever pops into your head at this moment in time. And we'll go in the order in which it was received. I mean, no particular order really, but all right, Ben Longwell, you get the first last word to the people. Ben Longwell, last words for the people.
Words to live by. If it's too easy, it probably isn't worth it. And if it's worth it, it probably isn't easy. And stay humble no matter what.
I like that. Sammy Bashir, last words for the people.
Yes, love heals all. I know, kind of cheesy, but
fucking hippie.
Chris DINAN, last words for the people.
So my father had always told me, if you force it, it will fail. Just go with it, but stay at it.
Well, there you have it, party people. DINAN, Christopher, Ben, and Sammy, the band. Yeah, out there in New York City, making things happen. And we're just, really, they're just starting out. All together, they've been perfecting their craft on their own for 10 plus years. And shoot, that's enough time to get good at a lot of different things. And they're good. I tell you, they're good. I'm glad that they found each other. And now they're working on this project together. The band DINAN. I know I didn't stir the pot enough. I could have asked the other band members, hey, why didn't you get the band named after you? Nah, I'm playing. Man, it's good to get to know these boys. And it's good to talk to some people in this trying time as we're recording this in May of 2020 with the COVID-19 coronavirus lurking. I hope it's not as bad as people are making it out to. Some people, it's like it's the end of the world as we know it. And some people, it's just a cold. I'm somewhere in the middle. Stay vigilant. Not shaking hands, not hugging people, but not wearing masks really all that much. I guess I should have asked. I know in New York City, where these guys are from, they were out there. I think the Mayor Cuomo was saying, you don't have to hurt people if they're not wearing a mask, but simply say, "Where's your mask, buddy?" I probably should have brought that up. Maybe not. It's all about the band, man. DINAN. I'm so happy that they came on the program. All right. If you'd like to tell your story, or if you want to hear the stories of others, I encourage you to stick around on this What Makes You Famous podcast. But if you would like to tell your story, I encourage you to give me a call at 501-470-6386 or email info@radiowhat.com. That's it for this edition of What Makes You Famous. It's Keys Dan, radiowhat.com, djlittlerock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.
Follow Keys Dan on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of keysdan.com. Follow Radio What on Facebook and Twitter. Click on the links at the top of radiowhat.com. The music you want is on.
If you like what you hear, follow What Makes You Famous social media. Use the hashtag What Makes You Famous. Follow on Facebook at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Instagram at What Makes You Famous. Follow on Twitter at Makes Famous. And follow on YouTube at Keys Dan. Leave What Makes You Famous podcast a review and subscribe. Listen to What Makes You Famous podcast on Podbean, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, and almost anywhere you find podcasts. Tell your story on my podcast, What Makes You Famous. Call 501-470-6386 and leave a message to set up a time. You can support What Makes You Famous using the PayPal link, paypal.me/KeysDan. Email info@radiowhat.com. What Makes You Famous podcast is a production of Keys Dan Enterprises Incorporated at keysdan.com. Thank you for listening.
Radio What? The music you want with some great quotes. No matter how rich you become, how famous or powerful, when you die, the size of your funeral will still pretty much depend on the weather. Michael Pritchard. The music you want. RadioWhat.com.